Welcome back to Serious Cooking, the show where I cook seriously. This week on Serious Cooking, we're making Bon Appétit's best banana bread, whilst talking about free speech. Hot topic, always controversial. Let's get cooking. It's cooking time! Welcome to my kitchen. So what's brought this on is the scandal around Katie Hopkins. If you haven't seen, she's been banned from Twitter. Two YouTubers made this video of pranking her, getting her out to Prague, I think it was, to accept the CUNT award. What was amazing. Really great video. I'll link it down below because you should go watch it. But it definitely brought up this question of free speech. Do we have free speech? What is free speech? How do we achieve free speech? And is social media free speech? Let's find out together. Woo! Before I make anything, let's preheat an oven. Now we are going to coat the pan. We don't just talk about hot topics here, we also find little life hacks in case you don't have the cooking facilities of Bon Appetit or binging with Babish or anything like that. How do we coat a pan? Tear off a bit of this. Wow. You use this to scoop some butter, just a little bit here and there, and then you use this to rub it in. Who would afford it, huh?
Did your mum teach you that, Ben?
Yeah, my mum's a great cook. She's been cooking all her life.
Oh, I fuck off.
It's like got butter all over it. Look, it's returned. Very handy. Everyone should cook like this. Parchment paper is needed. Parchment paper goes in, and you want this overhanging bit. So, after a quick break, I have, for everything, into the right amount. So we shouldn't have to deal with any of that shit ever again. We're gonna start by the dry ingredients, basically. Put them in here. So those that don't know, aren't from the UK, aren't aware who Katie Hopkins is, we don't really know what anything is Katie Hopkins. She's a public figure, says a lot of controversial shit, the biggest of which, and gained the most media attention, was after the Manchester bombing. She called for a final solution. For those that don't know, final solution is also what Hitler suggested, and it's essentially a genocide or a culling. That instantly brings up the question of hate speech and freedom of speech, and what the difference, can you have both? Can you have freedom of speech without hate speech? Realistically, I'm not here to give an answer to that. It's a very difficult situation that is almost different personally to each individual. Personally, and for the sake of this video, I think hate speech is a thing. I don't think anyone should be stopped from saying what they want to say, but I think they are then open to the consequences of that. So if you say something that is hate speech, I'm not there telling you you can't say that, but I'm telling you you're going to have to deal with the consequences of that. And that's not a threat as such. Like, I don't want that to come across as, oh, you say that, I'll bang you out, mate. It's more of, you say that and you deal with the social implications of being defriended, putting yourself into a different group where you're not accepted because of your views. If it's not accepted by society, maybe you need to introspectively look, and possibly you're not saying the right things, you don't believe in the right things, you need to readdress. It's the dry ingredients with a dry topic. I think we're going to move on to the more wet ingredients. What is freedom of speech? I did a little Google search. Basically the first thing comes up, because we're not going to put actual in-depth research into this because that would just seem smart. The right to express an opinion without censorship or restraint. I feel like we have that. I feel if you say you don't have that, and you're kind of living in a bubble. We'll take the Katie Hopkins, for example. She can say whatever she wants to anyone. If she isn't given a platform to say that, that isn't going against freedom of speech. That's a private individual, a private company, a media organisation refusing to give her a platform. Doesn't mean she's being stopped from what she's saying. Let me give this a little mush. Fucking hell, I sounded like Jamie Oliver.
No, you didn't.
What, a mush?
You wish.
No, I don't wish. He's a fraud.
Oh my god, you used to love him.
I didn't.
You had such a bro crush on
You
him.
can say it all you want.
You
I'll
did,
just
you
cut it
so
out.
did.
Butter. Fucking Americans. A quarter of a cup
Of butter.
of butter. A quarter of a cup of butter.
I think it must
what
be
do
a
you
measure.
mean?
No, it must be a measuring spoon or
Hold
something
on.
Americans have.
Quickly, because I did look it up. A quarter of a cup, 4
200.
tablespoons.
Well, there you go.
So that's what we're going with. I listened to this interesting podcast recently, and I highly recommend anyone interested in civil rights movements, society, sociology, psychology, blah blah. Go listen to the Joe Rogan podcast with Daryl Davis. I want to make sure I get his name right because he's a very interesting individual. Daryl Davis is a black man who was born during the civil rights movements. Had to deal with all of it, and he is a jazz musician, I believe it's jazz, or he's a musician, pianist, and yet in his spare time he converted KKK members. Fascinating individual. And his overall conclusion, and he's starting a social media platform that allows anyone to say whatever the fuck they want whenever, because he believes that if you restrict people from what they say, there is no way you can change it. So if you stop hate speech, you stop people that don't think the way you think from saying what they want to say, there is no way you can have a conversation about changing their ideas, changing their opinions, making them better individuals, making yourself a better individual, understanding the world better. Free speech is crucial to understand the world, to develop, to grow.
Here, here.
If you did wonder why I'm like picking up a freaking sweat here, it's because Mrs. BA, Bon Appétit, said that you need to whisk it for 4 minutes because apparently it's really good for it. And we want a good banana bread. I believe that is what you're looking for. If you haven't seen the last episode, I made cookies whilst talking about US gun controls. Go check it out. Finish this video, head over there, check it out. It's a good time. And the cookies turned out well. We're adding 1 egg at a time and mixing it in. Apparently that's what you have to do. Eggs are fucking weird. Like, something feels wrong about an egg. Nothing quite feels like that. As my mother behind the camera suggested, was it right of Twitter to take her down? I'm under the impression, personally, that freedom of speech is only relevant within society. Twitter is not society. Twitter is a private organisation. If they don't want someone with her opinion on their platform, they have every right to take her down. Does it mean that Twitter is the almighty overlord that passes judgment on everything that is right to say and what's not right to say? Obviously not. Because you can say whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want. That's how free speech works. Let's do another egg. There's a lot of cancel culture, getting people removed from platforms, etc. I don't think anything gets solved like that. I really don't.
But it is their right to do it.
Completely. Yeah,
That's what they want to do.
I feel, if I can't stress that enough, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, any other social media that anyone comes up with, whoever runs it has any right and has all power to remove whoever the fuck they want for saying whatever the hell they said. It's not up to you. Stop complaining about it. Stop getting annoyed. That being said, I don't think it solves anything. Removing her, it seems like it adds fuel to the fire. It seems like you make them the underdog, you make them hide and cower and become a bigger group. She becomes a martyr, you're hiding from the public, you don't want people to know what you're doing. And that creates more of a sense of identity in society with those that then gather together in those groups.
So your only option is to go with more like-minded people, and that just reinforces your awful ideas.
Completely. Nice. Okay, focus up, Mum. Up there. Hello. You need 4 bananas. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is the 4th so much riper than the others? It do be like that sometimes. I left these here last night and we came back today and look, there was 2 missing. I even brought a spare round just in case. And there's 1 missing because it do be like that sometimes.
There's reasons why I'd eat a clearly unattractive looking banana, although it was very tasty as it happens.
So we got this one, and they're meant to be overripe. This is, I think Mum did a great job of replacing it. It's a fairly overripe banana. What we're going to do, empty them in here, mush them about, get them all mushed up. Yeah, look, see, it was an ugly banana on the outside, but when you actually get into it, that's fine. That one looks a little bit more grim. But apparently there's some nice caramelisation when they get like this. Okay, I'm going to mush these up. Oh. Got approached by a subscriber. It's quite cool. Dominic, shout out to Dominic. Thank you, Dom, for all your advice on everything, because you actually have been amazing for the majority of anything I've done to do with filming. But Dom said he actually found it very funny how I only use tiny bowls that clearly do not fit the ingredients. This is a prime example of how I'm trying to restrictively mash some bananas into a serving bowl. But
just going to pan over to that big suitable sized bowl over there.
We're going to add bananas, freshly mushed, into the mix with some walnut. So this goes in. Oh, yum. Yummy. People say horrible things. People do horrible things. Unfortunately, that's what happens. However, if someone like Daryl Davis can go through so much in his life, have so much put against him simply because of the colour of his skin, stuff that you don't even know him and people are treating him horribly and treating him as second-class citizens. As a child growing up, if he can still find it in his heart to not exclude people, to have dialogue, to speak, to try and change, to try and influence, to try and make people better, then we should all take that approach. I think it's clear from the results. Honestly, go watch the podcast. He's converted so many KKK members high up. Like the Grand Wizard, they have the most bizarre names. Wizards, Cyclops, dragons, like, why? But he converted so many. He's changed the opinion, changed lives, changed attitudes, and it's all from having open dialogue. And we should all aim to have that. Because without it, you exclude, you make groups, you divide parts of culture, parts of population. It becomes war within each other. We're all one. Speak to people. Walnuts. Add them. Okay, from here, we're going to mix them, pop them in that, and chuck in the oven. I believe it has to be in the oven for 60 to 65 minutes and then rested for about an hour. I'm going to... Oh, I'm going to stop there. They sprinkled sugar over the top, so when it comes out it's like crispy. I thought it was so smart. I was like, yep, that is some big brain shit. Okay, there's some big clumps, but life be like that. Let's shove it in, see how it goes. Alright. I'm gonna put it in that middle one, I think. 1 hour later. It's out. Now this is where I'm concerned, and we find out whether I greased the pan, greased whatever properly, because oh, that's looking good. Yeah, I'm actually very happy with that. I'm looking forward to cutting it open, but you've got to leave it for about an hour, let it cool down completely. It's the best way to have it. We've disappeared for an hour, we've come back. We've neatened it up, and it is fully rested. Probably gonna do a little bit more sugar on top, something like that. The sugar is supposedly for textural difference. We're gonna cut off a decent. Banana bread. It looks good, it looks really good. Like, what can you argue with? Yeah. Yeah, like banana bread, just such a solid thing. Freedom of speech. Everyone should be allowed to speak. Everyone should be allowed to have banana bread. If I own the banana bread and I say you can't have any, that's my right. If I have a platform and I say you can't have that platform, that's my right. But I'm not going to stop you going away and making your own banana bread and speaking your own truths, your own minds, your own whatevers. I don't have the right. No one has the right. This has been Serious Cooking. Bye.